All right, test, test, test. Let's see if you guys can hear me okay. So it looks like the bar is moving, although I can't hear anything. But let's see if you guys can. It sounds like it looks like you can, but I don't know. Let me see. Let me try one more thing. A little bit late morning today. I was trying to get some additional things set up. The PC moved back fine, but of course, when you move, break everything down and put it back together in like different monitors and all this other stuff, it's always weird. All right, cool. Thank you, Debbie. I appreciate it. So it's funny. So the box out front is still crushed in. Supposedly, I don't know. The guy told my wife. He's like, yeah. He's like, it's cut somewhere. He's like, but that being crushed shouldn't have made a difference. I'm like, dude, it worked before. It got crushed. It didn't work after. I'm pretty sure that that's where the problem is. But so it's funny. He's running a wire from my neighbor's junction box. I feel like I need to go over to the neighbor's house and be like, hey, I'm not stealing internet from you. I didn't do this. It was Verizon. So yeah, he's like, yeah, there'll be a guy out in the next 7 to 10 days to bury the wire. It's like, what? Like, I have a Great Dane. I have two 10-year-old kids. I'm like, they're not going to be able to not touch this wire. So I'm hoping that for the next 7 to 10 days, I keep internet. We'll see. Yeah, it's been a kind of a crazy 24 hours. Oh, I'm definitely more tired today. Oh, it's Friday. That's all I got to say. And the setups that I was looking for, to happen today have already happened. So I'm cool. I won't need to trade at all today, probably. Maybe I'll look for something a little bit later. But for the most part, I am happy and I'm flat. All right, so last 24 hours. Yes, you'll need to recover the weekend. We have a toddler. I mean, she's 2, but she's pretty easy. Um, I have games on Sunday. I can't say that I'll be relaxing on weekend. So my uncle is a contractor, and I have a basement that we've been trying to finish for a couple years. And he's coming down. He just did my mom's kitchen, so he's coming down to finish it. We have the wall up, like it's like there's wood up or whatever in like a wall. We just need to put electrical and drywall in, so then I can move my kids from their room into the basement. So they have like a huge room, and then the baby will get their room. I can't say baby; she's 2, but she's like my baby. But yeah, so I'm doing that all weekend, and then I have playoffs and championship game on Sunday for lacrosse. So I'm like, man, I'm already sore. Monday's gonna be rough. I may go to bed at like 8 o'clock on Sunday night. Um, yeah, but besides that, I will say that I love. I don't know if you guys have the same feeling. I'll jump into charts here in a sec, but I don't know if you have the same feeling. Like coffee when you were tired always tastes so good. You're like, yeah, this is like the lifeblood coming back in you. Is it like hit your? It's like that. In old school when he's doing the beers, like, oh, so good, oh, so good, so good. Okay, just one more, one more. It's like that feeling with coffee. You're like, yep, I'm exhausted, I'm tired. Man, that coffee is good, right? It just like hits you. You're like, yeah. So I'll probably put the IV in later today with the coffee drip at this point. Ugh. All right, so last 24 hours. A lot has happened already this morning. You're seeing some major movements, particularly in the dollar, right? You're seeing, obviously, dollar, euro dollar down, pound dollar down 37 as well. Nice move in that one. That's the one I was talking about a second ago. Uh, uh, this guy, I mean, dollar yen is kind of flat at 4, but obviously there was some movement in it. Dollar Swiss up a little bit, and again, look at the news over here. I don't see, um, talking about, we'll roll out more measures to reduce burdens on companies. Again, that's not a direct jab at us. Dollar weakness over here. Um, I like this one too. The U.S. dollar's weakness is a result of broad profit taking. Profit taking. Okay, I mean that happens. So again, no pointed results, or pointed fingers. So again, not surprised that this one is up a little bit more. Dollar CAD up slightly as well. Aussie down just slightly, just slightly. And again, that's in the last 24 hours. It does not mean that there wasn't a pop and then a nice retrace and turn around and collapse either. So there is a very good example as well. For those of you that were in attendance yesterday, what platform is this? Sinfa right now, this is just Forex Factory. The piece at the bottom is a scanner that I use. But there's no platform up there yet. But again, -2 in 24 hours. There was actually some nice movement. I think the spike was like somewhere around like 60 pips, I think. It was basically 60 pips up, 60 pips down. So it's kind of one of those faulty readings where we talk about how it's a trader's market. Yeah, 60 up, 60 down is a great trading day. But in 24 hours, if you would have bought it yesterday or sold it yesterday, you're in the exact same spot. And you watch profit come and then evaporate very, very fast. Euro pound 38. Now, The euro pound number is pretty interesting because again, we see all this flash manufacturing data earlier from today, and interestingly enough, all the European data minus this German flash, which is a little bit higher, was red. Okay, everything was red, and even the French flash manufacturing went back under 50. All right, so going from 55 to 50, not good. 52 to 51, it's okay. 54 to 50, not good. Right, and that's the entire European Union. So what this is showing here for the entire European Union, not just one country, is we are right on the brink of going to contraction again. Okay, so that's not a great sign for the euro, and again, that will probably have a little bit of reaching effect into next week, and it's always cool when you get something like that on a Friday. That sets us up pretty well for Sunday night trades. Again, best day of the week, guys, is Sunday night when the market's open because you place your trades and you wake up Monday morning, you're already green for the day. So it's the most positive way to start the week off, right? And then the pound, look at the pound. That data was good. Right? Again, you're seeing the 55 over the 54. That's great. The services PMI, again, 61, from 57. Again, positive here. And we've talked about this, right? We've talked about the pound being pretty much being at rock bottom by, January. They were dealing with Brexit. How do we leave? Is it going to be hard, soft? They, had that extra additional vote where they're getting people out, right? And since that time, we've had COVID, and they've been able to just kind of, slowly respond, right? So, not bad for the pound. And again, this is, strength that we've seen, and it'll come in a little bit more. And, again, we'll probably also, because of this, give us some good numbers next week. So I'm kind of excited for the pound. Got CAD coming up right now. Retail sales at 8:30. So that will be, again, this can be played a couple ways. Dollar CAD. We'll actually do dollar CAD first on the pairs, and then we will do CAD yen just to see if there's any opportunity this morning. That typically makes the most sense for when we have a CAD only release. Normally Fridays, I'm always a bit cautious with dollar CAD. Again, there's normally U.S. data to kind of, counteract when it's a bit of Canadian data we have. But today it's a pure, just fresh CAD, and again, U.S. data doesn't come until 9:45. All right. Um, Retracement today will probably come in a little bit later because we have news at 9:45. It'll need at least a half hour to typically react. So reversals today, I would probably look closer. I mean, again, they could still hit a 10, but I would probably look more into that kind of 10:30 range to give that PMI data a little bit more time to absorb. I mean, the open will have already have happened. There's no early morning news. Media will kind of take the flash manufacturing and kind of twirl it how they want. And then that'll give us enough time, about 45 minutes before we can have reversal. So 10:35 probably, or 10:30 is probably the time this morning to look for those. I'll probably jump in around 10 just to kind of see what's there. And then 10:30 is probably when I'll be looking to trigger those. Now, news-wise, not really much, right? CAD's already, transmitting negative prognosis and weakening prevails. Yeah, I think the retail sales number could, throw that into a little bit of a tizzy, right? I mean, if retail sales is expected to go up to 24.7 from 18.7, that's all positive, right? So again, why are they kind of saying, "Oh, it's negative, it's negative," but hey, this is the number that doesn't lie. Um, Nothing else down here really kind of stands out. I mean, America's new debt bomb, great. We've had this forever. I don't think that's any surprise to anybody. I love when they post things like this, and they're always like, "Oh, America's debt." Yeah, I mean, you have whoever's not in the office is the one that's always like, "Yep, you need to control the debt. You need to control the debt." And then the other guy is talking about making it worse. I don't think. I mean, come on, something like the pandemic, there was nothing else they could have done besides create more debt. So, you can't really blame this on overspending and buying $150,000 hammers. That's not really. This is one of those times where it was justified, and it just get over it. So it's not big. Retail sales numbers again. Germany, economy loses some momentum. I would say this is a bit more than some. This is quite a big. Almost. I mean, almost 5 percentage points is big. That's almost back into contraction. So again, that's big news. This is interesting. Again, being high news. U.S. dollar weakness as a result of broad profit taking, which means it could also come back again very quickly. Right, and again, we're seeing that today on most dollar pairs in the last 4 or 5 hours have been straight down. Right, positive dollar strength for dumb comments like this. And yeah, this doesn't surprise me. Everybody says the same exact thing. We're going to roll out more measures to help companies, yada yada yada. So that's nothing crazy there. So overall, interesting kind of last, really since the European Open had some great trading opportunities. It's retraced most of the gains or losses that were affected yesterday. So today will be probably, there's a lot of positions right now, I'll tell you right now, that are already lining up to probably be good Sunday night trades. They're kind of reaching extreme levels, which is always what we like. Okay, so scanner wise, scanner is basically flat. Um, there's really nothing in the scanner that kind of stands out, minus European weakness. We just went over all those numbers. We saw it, the French, German, the Flash. That's the only thing in here that's really showing us much weakness. Now it says Euro pound is up. I don't know. I think that's just kind of like that's happened in the last 4 hours, an anchor break to the top side, but I see that rolling over. I think because the data was so good, everybody's trying to jump into that one, knowing what's going to happen, but the market's doing the opposite to kind of wipe those people out, and then it'll move the right direction. But again, it is still European weakness that'll be coming in there. So, and even again, the pound has a little bit of stuff over here that's kind of versus the Swiss and the dollar. I'd say the dollar is probably a little bit stronger than the Swiss. And the Aussie are seeing weakness. Now, Aussie, we've been talking about this all week, right? We're super high in the curve, waiting for pullbacks. There'll be some great setups when this finally starts to roll over and go. And it'll coincide with gold and silver, right? Because they will both fall because they are kind of pegged to the Aussie as well. And again, the big driving factor for that one was going to be, hey, where's that stimulus, right? Give me that stimulus. You got any more of that stimulus? And that's what that was hinging upon, right? We knew we were going to see Aussie weakness because, again, after the New Zealand central bank, Monday? Was it Sunday or Monday night? I think it was Sunday night. Said that they want a weak currency because with tourism coming in, they need to make sure that they have, a cheap currency so people buy and sell goods there, right? Mostly buy, not sell so much, but buy and use services. That's what you want when you are a touristy based nation. All right. Oh, all right, so let's dive right in the charts because I want to make sure that we get these two taken care of real quick before the news to see if there is any setups. So right now we're in an interesting situation. I got to update some of the numbers here because I didn't use this yesterday. Right now we have two levels. Okay, so we're about 15 minutes before news. As you can see, over the last last 6 hours, 7 hours, we've had a lot of movement in this one, and it's been almost straight up. Okay, now we had this. By any other definition, it is a parabolic move to the downside. It did run into trouble where it was supposed to. It ran into some more down here. It actually didn't go all the way down to the opposing zone. It kind of stabilized and then really started to kind of rally back again. So we've pushed all the way up into that zone now. The Canadian data today is expected to be pretty good. And again, that could be one of the reasons why it's pushing higher. But on a purely technical level, this is set up for a short position right now. Unfortunately, we have to use the entire body. We really don't have too much else to deal with here. I guess we could drop into a 15 and maybe use this level here. But I just don't know if we'll be able to kind of overcome that 13 pips in the next 15 minutes to the top side to be able to set up this short. But right now, I'd be looking for something more towards the short side on this one. This is more or less the channel that we've been kind of stuck in, right? This top and bottom. The top kicks in right around that 132.61. So, you could, I guess you could wait till after the release if you really wanted it. But the way that it's set up right now, it's not necessarily set up for a bad short. As far as which asset I would take it with in spot currencies, I would wait for it probably to come up a bit higher. I do like this top level a bit more than this, although there was good selling coming in this area. Looking to the left, though, there's really not like a great zone that it bounced off of. It was this is a much faster zone, but the candles are kind of funky. But again, this is looking like it's already setting up for some type of a short. Dollar CAD. So dollar CAD has done CAD yen has done the opposite. It's pushing lower. So this one is also set up in a position where we would likely want to see CAD strength come in. And again, the news is expected to be good. That may be why we're already getting the bounce a bit early. But we have the zone down here that starts approximately at here, at 79.92. The problem with this one is it's already started to move away. It's only about 7-8 pips, so it's got some room. This one is a little bit kind of more compact, a little bit more squished in, right? You can see that we're going to start running into sellers really when we come up top. So, this long, again, this would not be an 8x long, would look something along those lines, right? And again, that is kind of, that's taking about like a confirmation bounce off a zone that was pushed to the brink. Okay, so of the two, I think that the dollar CAD is probably a little bit better of a setup. The profit taking point in this one is fine. I do like where it is at. You can see it's before this started to roll over and kind of really gain speed to the downside. I do like that this kind of stabilized itself, pulled back, and is now getting green. The only problem I have with it is the fact that its first punch in this area drove this thing down to about 90%. So, it's kind of suspect about how many real kind of orders do we have sitting back in that area. And you can see where this one is drawn. It just hit that entry. So, you know, what I probably do is kind of see if this will kind of pull back a little bit more before that news. It is pulling and grabbing a couple more sellers right now. We got about 13 minutes, so we will see a bit more movement, more jumping in this one. And let's even drop it down. Yeah, you can see what it's reaching for. It's trying to grab these, and again, here's a high. Here's a little bit higher, a little bit higher, a little bit higher. This one didn't go quite as high, but that's okay. It's reaching back in this little 5-minute zone. So, I wish we were back here, right? Back here would have been a much better entry. 12 minutes before. But hopefully it gives us another little entry here to kind of go long. Okay. Um, in that one. All right. But I will say I would not consider this an A+ zone to take a bounce off of just because it was pushed on its first attempt that deep into it. I don't know if you guys can see how much is left. There's really not much left at all. We are literally at the brink. Okay. The top side. But again, profit target, I think is a good spot. All right. So let's go across and see kind of what's happening inside of any of the dollar positions. So here's that rollover we were talking about. As I mentioned yesterday in that presentation for Westmark, which was a little bit funky. The presentations were slightly different than what I thought they were going to be. Wasn't expecting, I don't know. It was kind of explained to me a little bit differently. But, still fun. Having to pack the computer up, run over there, do it. I think it came through fine. I don't know. I don't have a replay link or anything like that from it, but I think I'll get one eventually. But here's that confirmation pattern that we've talked about numerous times, right? This is a pretty clean one too. There's that red, green, red pattern, okay? And I mentioned it yesterday, if, you get any type of a basing top in here, something along those lines, and you get a red, green, red is typically a confirmation. Now, this would have scared people because it immediately pulled back, but that's, again, it's expected to pull back. So this would have been the top, and starting at about 2 o'clock this morning, 3 o'clock this morning is where this collapse really started to happen. It's moved well beyond at this point. It's 3-1, right? You can see it right there. The opposing zone would have been just a little bit far on there, and it may continue to push down. But at this point, I think you should be out. This is one of those ones where when it pulled back here, like, come on, it was so close. And then it did it again. You're like, oh, man. And then finally punched through. It played games on you. So for the U.S. data, this is even a zone here that I don't know necessarily if I'm in love with. It's a valid zone, but what I'm kind of looking for is when I look to the left, you can see over here, this is where kind of the original zone was drawn off of this area here, pretty much in there. But I mean, I can draw it off of here because that's where the test came in. So here's where the formation happened. Here was the test, and then here was a confirmation test off of it. So in essence, I mean, you can take one hit here. You may want to count this. You may want to count this. You got to count this one. This is one of those zones, if we start to push back down again, I don't know that I would take this one for long. I think this one has the ability to punch through. And then we're kind of getting down here into kind of a bunch of smaller areas at 71.13. So, for me on this one, and I think that was on the 4-hour. Yeah. There's a lot down here, and I do think we are due for a bit of a, some type of a bounce because this is a lot of movement fast. I think probably I still like this green zone here. And again, I can bring this all the way across there. So we can kind of match it up and you guys can see. For me, I think that is probably the best in there. Again, we had a test. This one drove a bit deeper in there. But I think, in this 71.13 is really where I'd be comfortable. And again, it may front run off the top. I'd be looking for something there. Okay, the only concern I do have about this one, though, is that yellow zone. And here's why. So in most cases, again, when we're using zones like this, we are able to use them for not only short positions, but then when they finally come up and base and break through the top, we would use this for a long. We do have to kind of respect that down here, that this could also, it's a buying area right now, but if it hits and bases and goes lower, we may get some consolidation bouncing between the yellow zone and this green zone down top, and kind of one of these back and forth, right? Because it was buyers, it will turn to sellers, and it's basically sellers, buyers, and there's a channel in between of about 10 pips. Okay, that's kind of the only concern, especially with it being Friday. The Australian market is out. The dollar market, there's really no news after 9:45. So, unless they're like, hey, listen, double stimulus for everybody, we're going to send you a free car. It's basically going to be media driven. Okay, so it may turn into kind of a stale day because the week is over and we haven't had any news. So, you never know what'll come late in the day, but again, this may get a bit interesting if we're able to break through this level. Okay, but if we are sitting down here at 9:45, this could be the opportunity. Again, it's predicted to be 91.5. It's supposed to be above that 50 number. Again, if there's any type of disappointment whatsoever, that will bring Aussie strength back into the top side. And trust me, the market loves dollar weakness, so that would be definitely a likely scenario. It's got about 20 pips to go. So I mean, 20 pips in an hour on this pair absolutely could happen. That would be about the one way I'd be willing to take this if we're down in that zone. Again, because it coincides with not only technical setup as well as a fundamental setup inside of what news is. Okay. Now, also again, very similar position. Again, we're back into a zone. This zone's been pushed pretty deep already from here. You can see on an hourly as well. This zone originally kind of made its first inroads back in this area, and it's not a clean area at all, right? In here, it's like kind of touch, 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 new stabilization, gap in here, test off of the gap. So there's been all kinds of kind of touches in here. This one I'm a little bit more leery with a long. I do think this one is probably a better setup, or maybe even just a break till next week and see what type of 30-minute levels we can get. None of the 30-minute levels on this one really scream to me. We're sitting in here now, but it went up and literally grabbed a much, put it this way, this green pause is much better than this zone formation, right? Especially after this pierce in. So for me, again, kind of consolidation on there. I don't really have much that I absolutely adore on this one. Even for Sunday night, I mean, we got some room to run to the downside, but these zones are very, very tiny. It's about 4 pips. So what I'm hoping for is that today we'll get some movement, or they're up or down. And again, I don't know how much longer this zone will hold. I'd like to see some easy basing for a Sunday night setup. I do think we will have some movement this Sunday, just based off of everything what's going on in the news and every week we get closer to the election, there's more of an opportunity for some weekend banter, and I feel like we're getting to the stage now where we're gonna start getting some weekend banter. Um, but we need a level. We need a level to trade this one off of. So, larger time frame. Again, we still have this 60. I mean, I don't think we're getting there. I don't think there's any chance we're jumping 70 pips today. But 67.58 is definitely a level that we're interested in. And again, remember, this one reestablished itself last Sunday and gave us this short entry off this top. So I mean, it's delivered 1, 2, 3 times already, and it reestablished itself Sunday. So again, keep it on your radar for next week. We may have another one there. Bottom side, as much as I would love to say, hey, look, there's a green zone here, I don't really love this zone. I wouldn't draw it like that either. I'd probably draw it more like this. Probably more what I've drawn that zone off of. But there's nothing. I mean, again, there's a little level here, little level here, little level here. So, going into Sunday, if this one drops about 32 pips, there could be something. At 10:30 after the news reaction for the U.S., this could be a potential long. And the reason why is because, again, we've been driving down in, the overnight, early morning hours, right? And a little bit of a pop, but overall downtrend. 9:45 comes and it helps us push lower. That can turn the overall indices around, which would also switch the yen. So, it's probably worth looking at 10:30 for a reversal. But besides that, I don't know that I would take that one long. That would be a level that I'd be looking to gap into on Sunday night and then be taking this long out of Sunday night. Okay. Now, Euro yen also had a big drop this morning. It's not necessarily surprising. It really didn't give us the greatest entry. You can see that we had this box drawn from early last week that, hey, listen, we expect price to drop, hit 125 as its first target and maybe go lower. It has hit. It's already dropped below now. And we're advancing a little bit lower. So it's having some problems now. And again, that was an old zone that we were talking about before, was kind of buyers. It was originally buyers here. It got broken, came back up and came buyers again on the top side, that Harry Potter trade. We're back at that same level now, but it's kind of it's sitting there with buying again. Um, this one's a little bit interesting as well, just because we're so close, and it's actually not a horrible zone. You guys can see on a 4-hour, this is a zone that registers on multiple time frames, right? It's sitting right here, and again, I'll slide this. I guess I don't need that one right now. Mess up with this. Oh, that's not bad. Pull this across to there, and you guys can see that zone shows up on multiple things. Slightly refined here. I'd bring it down just a little bit, but 124.35 I think is a very valid area. Again, it has the yen in there, very similar to the Aussie yen. If it does come down because of flash manufacturing PMI at 945, that could give us the nice kind of reversal setup that we're looking for. Again, what have we seen in the overnight? Nothing but straight down. It will retrace because, again, people are like, oh my God, it's been horrible. Europe's bad. Let's short, let's short, let's short. But again, you're shorting at the bottom. Those are typically the ideal setups for these to go higher. So something along those lines is probably what I'd see. Um, and that 1 to 3 may be a bit far. This may give us a little bit of a hiccup right here. But again, this is purely a yen play. The European market won't be closed in like 2 hours. Okay. So again, this would be a yen rebalance off our indices. Okay. Looking at the pound yen. Look at that. Look at this drop. Yeah, I mean, this is a drop that was kind of expected. There was the zone. We talked about it. You guys can see this one is straight down. I don't need this zone. This one was well beyond. There's your 1 to 3, your 1 to 5. And it also happens just to be a what? A parabolic retracement, right? We talked about this yesterday. There's your explosion forward. This one candle right here, 60 pips. The hourly ATR is 23, so it's almost 3 times. So we had to be looking for a reversal. Now, when it went up and punched itself into this zone, that's absolutely it. Looking for some type of a confirmation, a turn, and we got that. You could have set this for the red, green, red bottom, right? You could have set it there for a break below that. Again, came in right here, a little bit more risk. But again, we had 90 pips to retrace on this one. So again, we are now officially out of this trade. It came back down. It tagged the 138.71, the 138.81. That's what we're looking for. I mean, this was textbook. If you didn't make this one, I don't know what to tell you, right? It gave you numerous opportunities to be able to get in. Now, people look at this like, wait a second, why did this go down? The pound had great news. Of course, yeah, because everybody that sees the pound great news is like, I'm buying it, and then it goes straight down. That's how it happens. But right now we're out. So levels looking for next week. Again, I do think this level that we just came out of, which is sitting right here at 139.80, is definitely something that we need to keep our eyes on. This was great movement out of that. I do expect a retrace, and I want to see if it can stabilize itself. I may actually be interested in getting this one again. Kind of a reversal time, but this is going to be first. It's already sitting in a level right now. And in reality, I can delete that one and kind of switch that back to here. I hate when it does that. It resets and kind of yanks our things there. We are in a zone now. It has pushed deep into this zone. With looking to the left, there's not too much there, and this is kind of this is a gap that opened into a zone over the weekend. So this is kind of the setup over here that I'm talking about going through today into Sunday. We're already in the zone based off of, again, how fast this moved down. I'm also looking for a retrace, but I really need to see some type of a confirmation on a lower time frame. So maybe a 30, we see this kind of green, a red pullback that's not as low, and then a little bit of a punch higher. Got to see. It's not quite there yet. It's not, it's definitely not to my liking. It needs more. It needs more, right? I'm not willing to just take this one blindly. And again, I would also not draw the zone where I drew it here, or where the indicator drew it. I would have probably drawn it off of something along those lines, maybe even farther back. I mean, there's a tiny zone here, but I don't know if I would have drawn that one, but this one would have been a valid draw, right, off of that zone. So that's where we're sitting in. We're hit number 2. Again, if we continue to push lower, it's going to find some stabilization. It's just moved too fast, too far, too fast. And there's a few levels down here that are not bad. Probably not this one. This middle one here would be another one that I'd have some interest in taking a bounce off of. 138.22. But again, I'm going to wait for the U.S. news on this one. We'll see. If we can get a stabilization and a punch higher, again, this zone may work. The way that I would play that, there was a push above this yellow zone, a pull back to it again, and then that would be the entry with the established risk of being this yellow zone, right? So I'm going to leave that top piece on. I'm not going to mess with that one. Actually, I'll mess with it this way. Right there. And bottom side would look like, something like this. Oops. Something along those lines. Right about there. Right about there. Your profit target would be here, which is, it's a little far, but I'd be okay with that. All right. Oh, I want to delete everything. That. Fine. All right. So we'll see what the stabilization looks like. Pound dollar. So, oh my God, it looks almost the exact same thing. Oh my God, what did it turn off of? When did it turn? 2 o'clock this morning for the open. So this was my trade that, waking up, it's like, oh yeah. Looking at this guy. Again, nice top up here. You could have actually drawn the zone slightly different and used it off of this area, although it did go a bit higher. So this is probably what your zone will look like there, the yellow. Or again, you could have used the base indicator one. straight up rally. And again, whenever we see huge moves like this, right? Two parabolic moves, it kind of again ran into some problems where you would expect it, right? Ran into some more, kind of punch, 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 made the extreme range of the curve, hit a supply zone at the open. Again, when you can hit a zone at the open, that's kind of a telltale sign like, yep, here we go. This is where it comes in. And that's where the collapse happened. Now, again, was the news good for the pound? Yeah, 60 is much better than 57. It's farther from that, economic, it's deeper into economic expansion but this went down, right? So it's a combination of things. It's a combination of the pound data being so good that everyone's like, oh, I have to buy, reacting after the fact, and then getting stopped out here. But also, again, the dollar kind of reversal. So this is another one that I'd like to see it come down. This zone is not as tested as the pound zone was. So I do believe that there's probably a trade set up there. As long as we don't have basing, in the next probably 30 minutes. I don't think this is a bad long today. It's an area that's been tested. It's kind of low back in the curve again. We have that 9:45 news. Again, if that can help finish, get us down to that area, that could also provide us that kind of oomph pushing back up again. So, it's not a bad runner. I mean, it's about 60 pips, and I may not even hold it that long. Yeah, we're going to have to use that one. We're going to have to use the hourly on this one. We could refine it slightly, but not that much. We could actually probably bring this down. Yeah, we could probably bring it down to there. So, I mean, your risk now is about 19. I don't know. I don't have the Nadex platform up. If you could find a floor somewhere around there in a knockout, that would actually not be a bad position either. That way, if we're moving about halfway through, you're going to close that and profit anyway. But I think that's probably not a bad zone either. How much room do we got? Let me see. It's got about 20 pips. It can definitely cover that with flash manufacturing. So, again, that would be somewhat of a retrace reversal for later today. Not set up right now. I would not take this trade before. I don't think I'll take this one before. Like I said, I want to see if we can get down here at the open, then yeah, that could be an option to take down here, right? But if we don't get down to this area and we just kind of base sideways before the open, I would wait for any type of a push down and then wait for a reversal. I think that's the best bet. Here, I'll drag this across so you guys can see the exact. I know the numbers are small with this one, but 130.85. So euro pound. So euro pound has been dropping, and again, it's really kind of just restabilized itself. We were talking about the other day about this one kind of coming lower. Again, we overtook that area from last week, but this is what we have on the 4-hour. Okay. So 4-hour wise, what do? We went from kind of middle, the last couple of days from kind of middle of this curve, top and bottom. It finally drove through. It broke the 90 again. That's what we drew last Sunday. We hit it once. We hit it again. We came back up and re-entered again, and then also hit it the third time. So 90 has been a target 3 times this week, and we've been able to punch through it every time. Now we've finally gone down and we've hit the opposing zone. And again, whoops, I don't need that. I'm trying to grab this guy right here. So, is it a valid bounce off a 4-hour level? Absolutely. Absolutely a nice bounce. Now, it is going to run into some sellers coming in right now. There is a wick behind a wall with a little tiny bit of a wick. But right now, you have about 35 pip bouncer on this one in the last 4 hours. So it's been good. Would I hold this one much past 10 o'clock today? Definitely not. So if you guys are in it, I would be looking to kind of take profit off in the next probably hour. I would not hold this one up all the way over the weekend. A lot of stuff can happen in either, the European Union or the UK. But again, this is not one of those ones that I would really kind of mess with. There's a little bit of a basing right here. Again, be trailing your stop loss at this point. I'd probably have it locked in up here, maybe lock 20 in and just let it go, right? But make sure you lock some profit in. With both these economies, though, closing down in the next few hours, again, is there going to be a lot of momentum after the market closes? Probably not. It'll probably start to flatline and set us up for next week. Now, going into Sunday, this is one that I originally had a couple different levers that I liked. There is a small level kind of here and then one just slightly above. There are a couple different options for us. And again, I'll remove this. Yeah, let's check this one. Get rid of that one. So Sunday nights actually have not been horrible for this pair. This zone here, we had a nice push up, a solid sideways bit of movement, and then a quick drop to the downside. This is and again, I don't know if we can get this far before Sunday, but it's kind of like an if this then that. If we opened up and took a gap into that position at 90.23, or again, depending on when we close, if we can kind of gap forward just below it and it pops up in the first, I don't know, candle or two on Sunday night, I do think there's probably a little hidden kind of short position in here. Now, obviously, I'd like this up top, but I do think if we are unable to get past 90.23 on Sunday or by Sunday, basically meaning today, I think there's a short setup in here. I think this will roll over and flip. Again, it would be European weakness and bringing back that pound strength. We've seen pound strength on Sundays be pretty decent, right? Um, so that's kind of a forward-looking trade. But right now, again, I'd be, lock this one in, let it go a little bit more, shut it down in the next hour, and you guys are out for the day. Now, euro dollar, look at this collapse. So this is everybody telling, oh yeah, the dollar's weak. Dollar's weak. It's all that profit taking, guys. Dollar's weak, and then here the dollar's showing nothing but strength, right? So you gotta love the media. This is from before. Let's see. Things to take note on this one. There is a small level here, and again, this is kind of it's a minor level. It had a nice kind of pop to the downside. I would have liked if that first red in that one, the wick was a bit higher. It's not, but there's a little level here. And again, this is if we get a reversal later today, these are kind of like Sunday night scenarios. I like this one here on the 30-minute. I think that's a decent one. Obviously, this isn't bad. This is not as good. I would say that this one, it looks like it wants to continue to go lower today. Looking to the left of what the price action looks like, there's a little bit of a sawtooth piece here. So, this area right in here definitely is going to give us a little bit of a speed bump, right? A little bit of a hiccup based off the formation of the candles. I think it'll probably grind down. And like I said, we may need that flash manufacturing number. I'd be much more willing to get into a long, though, the lower we get here on the curve. While these are small, I'm not necessarily as interested. 4-hour wise, I know we had that short setup over here. Got here. We got about 46 pips. So earlier in the week, we mentioned we had a short setup if we were able to break below 116.81. And we touched it and bounced and touched it and bounced. We never really got our short entry for any more of a collapse. Obviously, it provided on the long side, but we haven't gotten the short entry. So now that we have another level established here, I would kind of continue with this level, this kind of thinking here. Again, here's where the original level was, but we could put in another one over here, which again is a little bit more recent. It's a little bit smaller of a risk zone here. And again, breaking through this, it will probably stabilize back in again, and that'll show us the real strength of this level. But again, same thinking, just slightly refined right now. Instead of 1681, this new level here comes in at 117.13. So, about 30 pips higher, okay? Gets us in a little bit sooner, but, again, this would be a valid target. If manufacturing punches us through, I could say, hey, this could be worth taking today. But if not, kind of the same thinking. Looking for a break below that and then maybe a pullback. Again, if it jumps past on Sunday, we got to make sure that you continue your level all the way across and then look for that pullback for that kind of filling the gap position. This one may be a little bit more challenging, but I do think there's a nice short. And again, this is on the 4-hour time frame if you're looking for that zone. On the 1 hour, it's there. You can see it's there, and it's very, very small. You can make this zone, it's about 10. So you could technically shrink this a bit more. I would probably shrink it to here. If I was going to make this one smaller. And again, that brings us up to about 15 pips risk to the downside. So, I mean, know that the zone is, and actually what I'll do is I'll bring this higher. Bring this higher and leave that one there, and then I'll change this one, that level, right there. So that's what that one would look like now, right? Here's what it would look like on the 4-hour. Kind of a smaller intraday. But same idea. Collapse below that 117.13. I'd be looking to take this one bearish. Okay. Dollar CAD. So dollar CAD is at the level you guys can see that it did turn. It is starting to bounce. Now the question is this retrace up from the news going to give us the big oomph, right? The Canadian news, or let's see, the Canadian news came in mixed at 15.7. So a little bit higher on the core retail sales, and then the actual retail sales number came in a little bit lower. So again, it does kind of more set up for the short position. Here's what it looks like. Right? Because again, this one was a little bit above and the retail sales was a little bit below, right? Missed by one. So it's kind of almost a non-factor. And again, the retail sales was higher last time. which will make it move just a bit, right? Just a bit. But now it's set up for just a pure US-based number at this point. The Canadian is no longer a factor in this one. And again, what do? We bounce off this upper level here, and again, it is set up for more of a rollover back to the downside in dollar CAD. So that one's not bad. This one kind of the same thing. It's already kind of left the station, right? It pushed. It's at a base. It's at stabilization level. So again, CAD yen would be off the table. The dollar CAD is still kind of set up in that downward formation. All right, yen. So we had a nice bounce off a level, right? We had that yesterday, but this is the ugliest retrace ever. I mean, this is an hourly, but again, it's wicks, crappy basing, slight pullbacks. I just don't like anything about this one. Even where the zone is in here, the indicator is actually trying to mark off a wick over wick, and I'm not really the biggest fan of it. This one is pretty. Oh, it's just disgusting. It's just not good at all, right? So there's a couple small areas in here that do have potential for kind of reversals. I mean, as far as candles go, I mean, this is not a bad. This area in here is kind of not a bad setup, right? I mean, we had the pop. It wasn't the best pop, but again, base drop came back up and retested where this red level is, right? Then we kind of came down, we stabilized below it and kind of tested this bottom area here. So if anything, I'm probably not willing to take a short, and even on this one, again, this one, I'm probably going to take it at its most conservative level before I'd be willing, and most likely, I'm not getting into this one today. I mean, it's going to require about 28 pips. I don't think we're going to move 28 pips from now till the open, and I just, I don't know. Just not a fan. I mean, I like this, but I feel like this one could flatline on us real quick today and just not be worth it. The zones, again, there's no real strong conviction anywhere in here of any type of a pop. So for me, I'm really looking for 106.03. I'm sorry, 106.08 as a level. And on the bottom side, I'm still okay with the 105.25. I think 105.25 is a great level to watch out for next time. It is a retest of a prior level, but the way that this took off out of there, the way that it based, the way that it dropped into it, it stabilized below, kind of came down one more and held, and then just boom, exploded and gave us this, gave us a 100 pip rally off that area. So I'm more looking for 105.25 as for for my next longs. Intraday, there's just so much garbage in here. So not really looking to mess with this one too much today. Dollar Swiss. Boom. So this dollar Swiss is funny. So look, we had all this movement. In 24 hours, it's up 26 pips, right? I mean, this is a run, though, of 77. So what did it do? Again, this is why it's a swing market, or not a swing market, right? Drop down, grab the levels here, turn and flip back up. Okay? That's all it did, was these two levels in here. You guys see this one? Look, there's the bottom, there's the top, there's the base, there's the tech here. I'll draw it this way. I know it's some kind of hard there. There you go. Right? No, right there. There you go. There's your rally, your base sideways, your pop. There's your retest down, and there's your explosion off of it. So what did it do? It touched it, and exploded off. So shorts on this one, I'd be willing to take shorts up in this level. Again, that is a tested level. We've seen it before, 91.52. Downside, again, for those of you that don't have it drawn or didn't have in there, 90.65 would be the test on the left side. Now, I would be a bit cautious with the downside. I don't know that we'll test it today. That would probably be more of a next week type thing. I'm hoping that this doesn't roll over now and just kind of end here between the two levels. I'm hoping that it continues to push a bit higher and we can get a 91.52 entry later in the week. I mean, if there's finger pointing today, this one will probably bounce even higher. But with a lack of any other news, again, not a bad level. It's been tested on a technical basis. And again, targets would be somewhere down here. I mean, you could use this is definitely over 3-1 as far as the target, but not as much as I like the 96 or the 90.65 level. It's a great target, but it's probably not going to be an entry for me whenever we get down there. And again, we'll talk about this before it gets there. It's got 70 pips to move. I doubt we're going to get a 70 pip mover because of flash manufacturing. Unless the U.S. comes up with world peace by 1 p.m. this afternoon, I don't see it. Don't see it going that far. In actuality, I guess if China says, "Hey, we're going to send submarines to patrol the San Francisco harbor," that could push this down. That would definitely move a 70 pips. But I just don't feel like we're going to get that today, guys. Not happening. NQ. So NQ. So had a nice little push down in NQ, right? A nice rally up, and now it's starting to roll over again. So this has been one of those things we talked about earlier in the week. We've had some small levels, some chances, and again, there was a Harry Potter trade set up in here where we punched higher. It came back down to that same level, and actually it gapped to the other side of it, which was kind of an interesting kind of play there, right? Throws you for a loop when it stabilizes right on top and then gaps right to the other side. So a bit interesting. The NQ I feel is in a position again, being kind of we're always flirting with all times high on this one. Right now, again, it is grabbing levels, right? It is grabbing levels right here to go and push a bit higher. Flash manufacturing will help it. It is expected to be again 51 is definitely better. 51.9 is definitely better than 50.8. The problem with this one is going to be is if it comes in under, say it comes in at like 49.9, right? That's technically under 50. That shows contractions in the economy. And I feel like the media will just go absolutely wild on that one. They will be all over that. It'll be like a shark feeding frenzy, right? But right now, it is set up. It's pulled back to a level where we saw buyers step in. It is pushing off that level. So there could be something in here. We have an hour to go before news. So, it can bounce around a little bit. The open will be interesting. I don't really see anything over here news wise. What is this? 49 minute. The Fed coughs. World launches. I don't see anything crazy newsworthy right now that would basically kind of make this thing jacked around. But again, I do feel like it's Friday. I do feel like we have the opportunity to make an all-time high again with this today, in another push higher. It's just going to take this manufacturing data to not be negative. If the media can swing this negative, then yeah, it's coming. Um, a negative trade for this one would be a Harry Potter to the downside. Wait for a break of this level. Again, pull back and then drop. And again, your 1 to 3 is probably an okay location. Downside, if we can break. If anything though, but I'm gonna go on record. If we break, I don't know if we will, but I think we could hit another all-time high today, whether an end of day kind of rally or positive, positive flash manufacturing. I think as well. Okay. Now S&P is a little bit different of scenario, right? NQ is pretty high and a little bit of a pullback, right? S&P is all the way down here. So the S&P just did take a bounce, and again, this is more of a lower end on the curve trade. I can now we'll pull those off. Um, so as you can see here, I'll bring it to an hourly, make it a little bit easier. Oh, actually, you can on that one. I thought this was one of the ones we could see. So it's a zone. It's not the best zone, but again, some of the things that are in their favor on this one is the fact that we did take that bounce very, very high. We pushed down, and again, this is a tested level. So remember the ECN-based data, the numbers are off slightly, so you're going to have to formulate these yourselves. Use the top of the body on the red candle, but 33.54-ish would be kind of a downside target for me in the S&P. Now the S&P is definitely much more negative. S&P will be a little bit more responsive to flash manufacturing. Typically, the Dow is the most reactive to it. The NQ is a little bit more, I'd say a little bit more protected. Again, NQ is tech, right? Tech is not dealing with manufacturing as much. It's dealing, I mean, there is obviously some manufacturing, but tech is a lot more services than anything else, right? And this is a manufacturing-based number. Um, so it's kind of the same idea. I mean, I'd like to see this come down. I think 33.54 could be an interesting reversal today. If and again, the problem is it's already up on the hourly. If we were starting to drive back down again, I'd be like, hey, listen, we get good news here at 9:45. That's set up for a reversal today. I don't see this one getting to all-time highs. I see it pulling back probably in this range, right? I just feel like there was enough of a reaction off of this one. It's going to take a really big catalyst to punch through that, and we got a little bit too much range to be able to get up that high. So I mean, 33.55 is probably what I'd be looking for. Um, Again, you can see the 30-minute bounce already off this one. This one's driving away from that manufacturing number already. It's already kind of preparing itself. Little wick over wick in front of us, right? There's a little position right in here. Downside. On the 5-minute too. Yeah, there's something small here. It's a 15-minute wick over wick. There's actually 2 levels here. There's actually a level sitting right above here also. That could be an interesting little kind of opening short, maybe, for any of you guys that like to get in there in the first couple of minutes and get in the trenches. That could be an interesting little short at either of these levels. The wick over wick actually is not bad at all, but so is that little kind of pop up, right? That push, pull back, and down. Either of those two, there could be a short off the open. Right, if we continue to rally. like I said, this is a fast push down, running into a 30-minute level, fast push back up again. We could have a little bit of a roll stabilization here. But yeah, there could be a small level there. But overall, on this one, again, it's high. Here's the 4 hour. We took a bounce off the top. We took a bounce off the bottom. So again, it is definitely channeling. Here, I'll zoom in so you guys can see this one a bit more. Again, there was the top that we had before. Massive push down on the 4 hour. Came up, grabbed that same level again. Massive push down, and then again tagged the downside. So we're kind of sitting right now in between the two zones on that one. Based off the 4 hour. And again, I see this probably stabilizing between these two. I'd be very surprised if we could punch through the top side today. Um, Even with good news, because it's already expected to be good. I don't even know if we were going to be able to punch through with that. If anything, if it's going to punch through a side, I would say it probably has more of a chance to punch through the bottom than the top. All right. Uh, yeah. So there's a small intraday kind of 5 minute or 15-minute trade setup if we can get up to here. Dow, as I said, Dow is a bit more reactive to this news. You can see we're not even remotely close. This one actually got front run before it even tagged that zone. I do think this zone is a pretty valid zone, though. I do like how it formed. I love the way that it based, it retested, it touched it again, and like literally exploded off of it. So I do think you guys need to watch out for 25 or 27,505-ish area. If we can get lower, now, even on lower time frames, this one, it kind of has a little hiccup point here. You can see it's a bit here, right? Um, in this range. So there's something small in there, right? Kind of the same idea. If we can rally from now for the next 40 minutes or whatever until the open, there could be a nice little short reversal. Maybe even after. I mean, maybe if the open helps punch us a little bit higher. But again, it's in the middle of this area. It's the middle of the curve. Shorts coming in are much better up in this area. Much more defined, much stronger moves than being in the middle. Ideally, I mean, ideal situation is up here at like the 27,878. I think is you know, that's quite a move today. That would be a huge manufacturing number. I just don't know if we'll get up that high. If anything, if this number is negative, I see this one rolling probably even deeper. I can see it definitely testing this zone, and if we can punch through that zone, again dropping up to a 4 hour level, you can see we have this reversal here, but there's a lot of ground that this can overtake, particularly if manufacturing is going to get soured. All right, but overall, remember this one is not up top. We're not flirting with all-time highs, and we did have this really really great zone that we shorted off of here. Right, that's where these levels came in. Again, remember that is the top side of the level. The yellow is below. Okay, we got close here. Actually, I guess I can do it this way. So just be like, wait, did it hit? Did it hit? Or aqua, I guess. Again, there was the pullback from that zone. Yeah, I don't know. Like I said, I feel like this one has the most negativity issues with it. But we are gonna have to punch through this zone. Yeah, I feel like this will be a bit more consolidated today. And again, this could be top and bottom. It could be 78,878 is our top for today. And if again we can punch back down to 27,505, that could be our bottom, and then we'll just plan to be stuck in this area today with catalyst. So, all right, gold. Oh my God, gold's not at 8 million. Gold still, guys, is stabilizing. It's still pushing lower. Again, we pushed down. You guys can see here on the hourly, this was a zone that we had marked off. And again, we took a nice bounce off of it. It pushed into it. I think at this point, I think it's actually at its 3-to-1. No, it's pretty close. It's 3-to-1 is at a fine level. I do think it will come a bit higher today, just to kind of bring us back up. Question is, though, I don't know if it will be able to punch and go much, much higher. Obviously, flash manufacturing will have a little bit of an effect on this. Again, maybe today's the day that they decide to give all Americans free cars and $5,000 worth of stimulus, right? Because if they give us a car, we don't have to spend it. It'll hurt autos, but they'll bail out autos. You know how that works, right? Autos is too big to fail, so let's give everybody a car because we're going to bail them out anyway. It's okay, and then we'll give them stimulus. And if they have free cars, they'll drive them more. Then they'll buy more oil, and then oil will go back. You know how it is. So this one is already 3/4 of its way to profit. I wouldn't be messing around with this one. You know, there are a couple of potential shorts up in here. I mean, this entire zone I'll mark it off, but this entire zone here has been an area that, again, nice push, was retested, retested again, kind of stabilized, formed a new level, based, and then hammered down. So, it is approaching an area where there's our profit target for our long there is also a short entry in here, right? And again, I wouldn't mark that one. That one I think is junk. Um, probably bring this up. Probably in there, I think would be the best one. Basically using this green candle over here. Set it right there. So if you guys are looking to get in something on a, you know, some type of a play in gold, play a retracement. And again, a lot of this is also going to depend off of back. No, I'll leave it there. Anyway, I'm looking at something along the lines of this one, right in that level. Okay. Yeah, hourly, that's there. That's fine. Right, good. Yep, something along those lines. Basically to be property along those lines. Again, we are already inside of this one right here. You guys already know that's the zone from the hourly. That one. All right. So again, it looks like we're gonna probably hit it by the end of chart school. It's gonna punch higher, but and much farther past 1943, it's probably not something that when again, that's a lot of profit to hold in one hourly candle. I wouldn't want to risk giving that up with, again, manufacturing numbers coming up, and it is approaching an area where there's supply. So, again, have that profit, have that take profit button ready to go. Just got a bit farther to go on that one. Silver also is kind of in a similar situation, except again, not going down. So silver, interesting enough, this was that Harry Potter trade that we never got the entry on. Again, it didn't give us the proper setup. I thought we had deleted that before, but maybe we did. This is kind of what we had, right? We saw a big spike down, and what did it do? It grabbed a 30-minute level this morning and kind of rallied off of it. Um, if anything, I would say I'm definitely bearish silver. Gold has some, a little bit more grounds to stand on today. I just don't feel like silver is going to have anything. And I've been mentioning it again. We've been more or less sideways. You guys can see on an hourly. It's been going lower. The highs, the pullbacks keep getting lower, 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 lower. And again, it's starting to punch down and blow up levels to the downside. Um, Actually, way past. We don't need this one now. Um, so So what I'm probably going to do is look for, and again, this is one of those areas of interest. You guys can see it came down and Harry Pottered it off this same level, right? Came back up and stabilized, pulled down, stabilized again. Then it became a long, and then another hit off of there right now. What I'm probably going to do is use it, and again, probably not a today trade, maybe a today trade, but something along those lines. Yeah, a pretty interesting trade setup. Again, it goes along with a Harry Potter. It's got to break. It's got to, kind of stabilize in base, pull back, and then collapse. Okay. Um, you know, right now this one is again bouncing off an area where we've had buyers, so it'll eventually run out of steam. On hourlies, it's got a, I think the 30 minute, it's got a few levels. Again, there's one little one here, one little one here, one little one here. But as soon as I jump to an hourly, we lose all of them. So it may have to go up to the curve. I think if we can rally this thing up into the 2745 ish area, again, I'd have to dial down and really kind of focus on, again, probably off of like something along this line, something like that, maybe. Um, Again, that would not be a long, guys. This would be a something like that. You um, Taking a short off that side as well, but definitely a more short biased. I'd like to get short this position. It's just all right. So either one of those would work. 2741, or if we can get a Harry Potter continuing breakout to the downside. Give the Fed time; they'll get. They already have it. One. Their order number is 1,000, right? Exactly. Um, Pips pay the bills. Ask Ernest how many pips paid the bills this week. All right, so let's go across to everybody's favorite commodity. Let's put this full chart. Bum, 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 bum. Right. And from our presentation on Wednesday, because remember, we didn't have one yesterday. I was homeless, right? I was homeless. No, I was trying to get the computer set up for that presentation. So, as you guys can see, had a very fast parabolic retracement. We had mentioned earlier in the week about coming down to this level and finding buyers somewhere in that range. Remember, we said we stabilized, but again, that was a retest off this level. We were looking for this before news. We didn't get it. It kind of just pulled down again. It gave us the entry off that top level. And ended up pushing down and ended up taking stuff out. Came back up and gave us another entry. And you guys remember, we marked off the 2 yellow areas saying, hey, listen, this is probably the top and the bottom. We did punch down to the original level and punch all the way back up in basically an hour and a half, maybe. I don't think it took that long, the full retracement. Well, we tagged that level and we are going bearish again. So again, the levels top and bottom, guys, have been holding. Being down here at 42.11 right now, based off of this move. And again, I'll leave this, I'm going to leave this guy kind of here, right? Because again, we expect we expect some movement. And actually, I probably should have moved it down a bit lower, but I'll leave this here and we'll kind of just put that focus. There and really, in reality, I should use this one, but this is where we were hoping we were before news. Okay, right now, again, I think we will have a bit of issue. Probably, let's see, okay, here, right? I think that's an area that you need to watch out for to the downside for profit targets. So on the safe side, if you guys are short now, I hope that you guys are. 41.66 is kind of the magic number that I would probably even say maybe a little bit before that. Maybe like a 41.70 would be where I want to take profit. Now, would I be going long from that level? No, I would use that as a profit target. And actually, here, we'll change this to so it makes sense what it is. Okay. Um, Down here at 41.28, I think I would definitely be willing to go long again. The manufacturing number will affect it a bit. Obviously, manufacturing, you think industry supply of commodities. But at this point, I mean, like I said, I'm still going to be holding yellow up top, the 42.81, and then downside, the 41.28. That's the range that we've been playing back and forth in. This has been the sandbox, right? I mean, look at how many times. I mean, payday, 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 nice payday, right? Boom, payday to the top side, though, and then boom, it's rolling back again. So, oil has that guy that said oil hasn't been worth trading for, what did he say, 2 months is crazy, right? I mean, how often do you get a channel like this that literally is going boom, from the top, bottom, top, bottom, top, bottom, top, bottom, top, bottom? I mean, it's literally been, I don't know. James, I mean, I don't know. Ernest, I don't know if we ever got a confirmation. Did James make it to Whole Foods yesterday? I know we went from Walmart to Target, and then I think we are going Whole Foods next. And with this, with the movement off of this one, I'm pretty sure James would have got short over here in the overnight. I know he watched this level as well, so um, taking it short. So yeah, guys, profit targets down here at 41.70. Again, longs down here at 41.28, and if we can get back up into the 42.80 range, again, I mean, look at this. Every time we get up in this range, here, 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 here. Again, sellers have been stepping in, and this actually didn't even put in a new high. So um, yeah, I mean, look at this. This is just racing to a profit target. It's like, get me out, and it's going. So, all right. He went past Whole Foods. He's ordering groceries from France now. Probably. I know he did really well in oil yesterday. Whenever James is like, "There's another one. There's more," he gets like that snowball effect, right? Yeah, he's getting them imported from France. That's awesome. Yeah, that's probably James. All right, guys. So it is now 5 after, 6 after, I guess. Again, we're going to do the drawing in just 1 second. Again, remember, keep your eye on this flash manufacturing number. I don't see how this OPEC needs to offset large May July oversupply. Documents show. Oh, there's oversupply. Oh, well, there we go. That would be why oil is collapsing back down again. Go OPEC. Good job. Good job, guys. No, good job, you. Um, yeah, so there's not too much in here. Besides that, again, this manufacturing number. We'll see what the media, we'll see what the media spin it on. Is it after that? Like I said, it's expected to be positive. That could be good for the markets today. That would be NQ, all-time highs. Dow would be up for the day, and then we would see also the S&P. I don't think the S&P will hit an all-time high, but it will kind of put it pretty deeply into the curve, set up for a short on Sunday or Monday night. All right. So let's go ahead and do the drawing right now. Again, guys, I don't know if you saw it or not, but I did 50 pip chips again since I wasn't on yesterday. So that's kind of twice this week that we had extra pip chips out there. Plus, it's a Friday, and I appreciate you guys getting on that webinar yesterday. Like I said, some of the speakers we have heard before once or twice, and yeah, and some of the other ones were kind of had some interesting setups. Interesting, I would say. Um, the one that was like, yeah, just go long every time. The market always goes long, and I'm like, really? Because I feel like for that entire month period of February, March, when the market was collapsing, I feel like that strategy didn't matter what day. You either got no trades for 3 months or you lost a lot. So. But all right, anybody can get into the drawing, guys. Exclamation point ticket. Everybody gets at least one free ticket. After that, it is 10. It is 10 pip chips per ticket to be able to get in. And I'll give you guys. I'll do to 109. All right, 109. And while we're waiting, if anybody's in the channel and wants me to look at any individual stocks, I'm going to scroll up and see what I missed. Cover of the weekend. Tyler, yeah. World Peace. Nura, you like that World Peace thing, right? Yeah, the order ticket though is quite down the line. And it's interesting enough. Speaking of like world peace and stuff like that, there was another thing out today from that I saw somebody post. I mean, I don't know if it's real or not. Talking about, I don't know what European country it was, but again, that they don't need masks. They're like, we're not seeing any different rates with no masks. I'm like, oh, here we go, back and forth again with this whole thing. I'm just dreading the flu season. Flu season is just going to be crappy. But, not even talking about the big C word. I wonder if masks would make the flu better. Because there's always that one person that wants to cough on you, and they're like, "Oh, I just had the flu. It's nothing big," and you're like, "What? What?" Always that one person. All right, let's see who the winner of today's drawing is. We got James, Ernest, Marina, Debbie, Noro, and Will in here. Let's see who's got it. Winner is Debbie. Debbie win the one the other day too. I feel like Debbie won the other day too. Debbie, did you win the last one? I feel like you've won 2 in a row. I want to mark this one as complete. Oh no, you didn't. Yeah, let me see. Hold on. Uh-oh, Debbie won 2. So how do I work that one? Because normally when we win like this, the standard win is 25 pip chips, and if you win, you get 100 pip chips. She doubled up, but we were technically in double range. I feel like it would only be fair to give her double, right? Because it was a double day, so I feel like she's going to have to grab 200 today, right? So again, she's fighting. She's right on Ernest's heels. She's up in the range where she's going to be spending some of those pip chips again. And yeah, congratulations, Debbie. Girls are back on top again. Look at this, man, driving. And again, the girls have spent their pip chips. The guys over here are, Will's busy. He travels, right? Ernest are hoarding because again, he needs to be the anti-hero, right? He's our local anti-hero that everybody loves. He's like Deadpool, right? He's like a good guy, but like not a good guy, right? At the same time. So we have Ernest as Deadpool, and then we have the 2 women, driving forward. So Ernest fixing to be passed by a girl. I know, right? He's trying. He's trying his best. So, all right, guys. With that said, I'm out of here. Check that news release 9:45 this morning. Again, it should give us some play. The media should take it and spin it with whatever direction. Once the trend is established today, again, we should be good until the end of day or the rally or collapse. Yeah, like I said, world peace by 1. That'll give us some movement. Besides that, I don't think today will be too big of a too much craziness unless they finally pass stimulus or I don't know. God knows what else the media is going to spin. But anyway, a lot of good trade setups for Sunday night coming in. Again, check those 30-minute levels if you guys want to do your homework a bit early. What I would say is get in there and probably like right after the close today, you can establish your weekend-based levels, or you can do it tomorrow. But it's always nice to do it at the end of the trading week. Savor in your wins, learn from your losses, and again, set your Sunday night trades ready to go. You guys take care, and I'll catch you guys later.